Good morning, bonjour, bonsoir, good afternoon, good evening, habari. Welcome to another episode of the 360-degree brand story. I'm your host, Joe Mukoko, and this is the space where one brands come alive, one brushstroke at a time. A bi-weekly conversation about the comprehensive nature of storytelling. Not just once upon a time there was, no. There's much more to storytelling. Storytelling forms an integral part of our daily lives, daily activities, daily interactions with the young, the old, the bold, the brave, the meek, with our family members, colleagues, and other stakeholders. This show is hosted by Akiko Stories. And Akiko Stories is affiliated to African MSME Collective. And as usual, on the, I will not call it hot seat because now it is winter in Kenya. On the cold seat this morning is Chesubire Craig, founder, Akiko Stories, co-founder, African MSME Collective, champion of the African cause, and why Africa has everything that it needs to propel it forward. That the future is now and here. But we can only do this through impactful storytelling. Chesubire, I will not put you on another cold seat. I will just let you be today. Introduce yourself, and then I will come back and delve into the topic of the day. I hope you have something hot next to you to quench the cold. Do we quench the cold? Or do we make the cold go away with what we drink? Anyway, Chesubire, over to you.
Quench is for thirst, but we warm the room.
Okay. No, you're supposed to warm your throat, not the room.
You warm the room. When you have a heater, what are you doing? You're
No,
radiating.
I wanted you to drink something, not the
Or
room.
to do something. So I'm
Yes.
quenching thirst. Don't
Okay.
worry.
Thank
I'm
you.
doing a black tea. So we're together on that one.
All right.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Hamjambo. I don't even know how to introduce myself now that you've done such a good job, Joe. I'll play you like last week and say thank you, and let's move on. But I think there's something you said that is so profound. We have to tell the African story. And one of the things we say at Akiko is that we document Africa one story at a time, which simply means encouraging everybody to tell their story. We're not trying to be the mega documentary firm. We're not trying to be the only guys who tell the story. We want to be the fuel in everybody's engine to tell their story. We want to be the wind beneath all the wings of those who want to fly. And we are working diligently to be the fire in the belly of every African to tell their story and to tell it from their perspective. Not from the perspective of how people want to hear it, but truth is what we want people to tell. Back to you.
Thank you, Chisubire. Last week, you concluded in a powerful way by telling us the customer is it. Start, finish. The customer is it.
Yeah.
We know that we cannot be able to make sure that the customer is it if we are not working right. Even the solopreneur needs teams to be able to, I wanted to say quench the thirst of their customers. No, to be able to satisfy the user experience that their customers have. And we realize that these teams are so important to the success of any micro, small, and medium enterprise. Thank you for giving me a blank template. So I bring it back to you. How can we, before the how, why should we connect with our teams to ensure that they are able to help us deliver on our mandate, which is the customer is it?
So you remember when we said the customer is it, it's because if we don't have a customer, we don't have a sale, so we don't have a business, right? And many times the person between the sale and the business success is a staff member. Whether it is you as the solopreneur or it's a team of people. The big corporates get it right because the HR, you have induction, you have community guidelines, you've got all those things, which is stuff we discussed on the growth edge. So I want to bring it here, right? But what that is doing, it's telling a story of value. It says to people, if you do these things in this way, we will consider you the right person to represent us to our customer. Come into the MSME space and we don't have those things in place, which is okay. Go to the Growth Edge, we'll tell you how to do that one. That's the other show we do as AMC. But in this space, the conversation we are having is the reality that storytelling is not a marketing function, but, is not just, let me add that word, is not just a marketing function. So if we need to tell the story right, if we need our teams to work right, we must understand that our people make or break our businesses, and they're a principal part of the business. So if you're a solopreneur, your people are likely to be your suppliers, the rider who delivers your stuff if it's product. They're likely to be that bot that speaks on behalf of you if you have a bot. Many of us use WhatsApp bots to do business. If you have a physical space and a physical office, then you have workers in the space. You have team members who are working alongside you because as the business owner, you're worker number one, employee number one. And one of the true things is when you celebrate a human being, it boosts their morale. I remember working in positions where my boss assumed, say, I'm paying your salary, do your work. It was very different from the boss who would come in and say, good morning, I hope you had a good evening. So what are you doing today? Da, 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 da. Very different template. And I've worked for both. I remember my first job, it was so much fun because my boss would come in the morning and we touch base and we built a friendship such that I left his employ in what? I think 2004, and we are still friends today. And what was most interesting is to go back and visit him 15, 16 years later and find they still had the same housekeeper and they had the same driver that I left when I left that establishment. And what happened is these guys are instrumental to keeping their home running, which means he can go to work and work long hours in the business knowing that home is covered. I don't know if that makes sense. So if we're looking for that level of sanity in our homes, we can build that level of sanity in our businesses. But what are the things we say as business owners? It's difficult to find good workers. Is there a generational issue about guys want soft work, light work? Yes. But is there a way you can motivate your teams to be employed? Yeah, to be a good employees? Yes. Okay. But it starts with you and how you appreciate your team. And how you appreciate your team determines their morale and how they work with your customers, which determines when people go online to review you, what they will say about you. And that's the part most of us don't think about. So that's one of the ways to do it. And you see, if your environment is toxic and your people are leaving, there are all these HR conversations when they say, give 3 references. I saw a meme on, I think, Instagram or TikTok 2 weeks ago. It said, when you go for an interview and they say, give us 3 references of your previous bosses, ask them for 3 staff members who are happy with their job so that you can interview them also and get references. It was said in jest, but I think it's an important thing to think about, because the kind of team you maintain will help you position as an industry leader or not. The kind of team you maintain will help you position as an industry leader or not. So if you have high staff turnover, my friends, that is a loud story to tell you. If everybody who leaves you leaves and says you can't work, we have a saying here in slang that says hakukaliki. It just means that no one can stay in your space. You can't sit. Kuka is to sit. So hakukaliki means it's too difficult to sit. If that's what people say about you, then there's a problem. Because on your online spaces, when you go for meetings, you are always coming in with different people. That says a lot about you, 1, as a business, 2, as a person. Because I think a couple of episodes ago, we said your business takes on your personality. So those are the key things that we must do, because when we are able to create spaces that draw people in to be comfortable, and then we're able to give them the right environment to work, and then we're able to talk about what they do and who they are, positioning. And then they become our ambassadors. They will go out and say, I work at an amazing place. They will deliver 300%. So you have the whole HR work environment conversation, and then the whole environment of, do they know what you believe in? Are they able to communicate it? And then there's the interaction with them that says, cool place to be. I'll give an example. Depending on when Nakumat was still alive, so Nakumat was a retail chain, their tagline was, you need it, we've got it. The experience in Nakumat downtown, which was at the one major bus stop, and Nakumat Junction was diametrically different. Or Nakumat Crossroads was different. I will use a current supermarket chain, Naivas. Over Christmas, I went into one Naivas and I ended up with a personal shopper helping me shop. It was an upmarket branch. I was like, what? And this guy, I was looking for a Christmas tree for a friend of mine. And I was just doing my stuff. And it's like, you look like you're looking for something. And I said, yes, I'm looking for this tree, this size. Like, let me check the store. He went to the store, brought the tree, and then he asked me, so what else are you buying? So then he took me through my shopping, showed me everything that's on special. And this was the best part. He fast-tracked me. He told me, wait a minute, let me find you the shortest line. And the shortest line was the food counter. And you know the way there, they tell you food items only. My whole shopping cart was done through and I was out of the supermarket. Probably half an hour faster because lines were long. It was, again, an upmarket branch. So you can imagine what they have done to have a few personal shoppers to cherry pick, because they were not picking out the baskets. You needed to have a trolley. But I've never seen that before, and I've never seen it again myself. But I'm certain somebody else has done it. What did that do for me? I was already devoted to the supermarket chain. It just made me settle even more. So that's the way your employees can push you to position as an authority, and how good morale allows them to deliver better service. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that elaborate why we should do this. On a lighter note, when we are using the chatbot, how do you reprimand the chatbot when the chatbot does not do what you had programmed it to do. Food for thought.
That's right. I would simply say you update the back-end code. Because maybe it was asked to do a task that it didn't know. But interestingly, so also on a light note, I saw it online this week that there is a robot that committed suicide by throwing itself down the steps in Korea.
How is that even possible? Okay. Technology is strange.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, and
You
it
have,
threw itself down because of working too much.
oh, okay. Wow. That's very interesting. We've talked about why we should do this. The customer is it. We need our teams to be motivated. We need to be industry leaders. And storytelling is not just a marketing function. How then can we go about doing this? In a successful, effective, impactful, sustainable manner?
I think there's several things. Let's make it a culture to celebrate our teams internally. Let's make it a culture to recognize. Now, many people think that when you give bonuses, cash bonuses at the end of the year, everybody's happy. Money is always good, but there's some people who are not motivated by money. They don't come to work for money. They will say, thank you very much, but their core needs are not met. So I think a couple of things, and it's nothing new really. I don't know if you worked in organizations where there was a memo that so and so has accomplished, this is, best employee, stuff like that. I've seen hotels, restaurants putting up, they have a section where they say employee of the week, employee of the month. And then they also have on that wall, which people don't really think about it, sometimes they have manager and the picture of the manager. What it does, it lets me know who I can talk to and who can make my life good. So do simple things, do hangouts. One organization I worked with, we were in the habit of doing a lunch and learn every Friday. So we do lunch and learn until maybe 3 o'clock, and then there's drinks in the house. So depending on what people drink, those drinks are available. Okay, so that could be, or so I found this very interesting. To celebrate 10 years, my nail salon, well, she's a full-blown salon. She closed the salon for 4 days and took her team to the coast. 4 days. And you can see the difference in people. And she had organized, they did photo shoots, they said it a nice villa by the beach. They went to all these places. They spent 4 days on the white, pristine sand of Mombasa. Morale in her salon is up, but it's also driven traffic because it was an idea floated by some of her staff, some of her clients, sorry, and some of the clients contributed to that. Because like, you're going where? Here, I'll pay for cake. You're doing what? Here is a topper. So SGR down, transport there, 4 days in a good hotel, photo shoot, and they had dinners, lunches by the pool. And it has really shifted morale. But what it's also done, it's positioned her as an excellent salon because her people are happy, so we're all happy. I don't know if that makes sense. Did it cost her something? Yes. But what it's done for her teams is it has solidified her team to keep working. So things like that. And then ask them to pay and nominate. If I know you're going to be vetting me and evaluating me, I think I'll behave better. Maybe. Or if somebody consistently wins, like it's always Jojo will be like, Allah, what's this guy doing? Where? We're gonna change, we're gonna shift the conversation. So I think internally it's things like that. They're inexpensive. It's inexpensive to send out a shout out to somebody across the complete network. So that's one idea. Externally, and I've seen a lot of organizations do this for their CEOs or new senior members. We like writing pieces about them on social media. Oh, Joe Mukoko, co-founder of Africa MSME Collective, he has just done. We celebrate him on this milestone. So why don't you celebrate your other team members? Because this is a thing. I said it earlier. If we keep seeing turnover in your organization, we are all going to think, what's wrong with these guys, right? But let's try and celebrate our people. Maybe in an article, a social media post. Sometimes at the end of the year, and I saw one of my clients do it 2 years ago, she celebrated her suppliers and her team members for how they have helped the business grow to where it is. Loyalty, up, completely up. And she even celebrated a past employee. I thought that was really cool because what it did, it gave mileage to that person's profile. And for me, that's important because if somebody works for me and they come to work for you and then they have issues, it's a reflection on me. So how can I use positive reinforcement, praise, and awards to get my team to work better? I think the other one is two-pronged. You could do an award scheme, both internal and external. But when you go to big restaurants, they ask for an online review. And I went to one where they encouraged us to review even our server. So what I started doing after that is, your name is Consolata. And I would do my review and say, Consolata gave us excellent service. What happens is when I go to read fields, I'm looking for what are the compliments. And I went to this one establishment I picked because they said service was excellent, the way you are received. Let me tell you, I got wonky service because that person they were praising was not in the building. And then that person in the morning was in a mood. I was like, this is the person I got such bad service. I was like, okay. But I went there because I was told this, and the references for the service and the team were excellent. I did give them a review because I'm like, this feels like two different things. I understand we all have moods, but a bit much. So the online review, and they had mentioned this person by name. So the moody person in the morning, then I said, and your name is, and she said her name, and like, this is the person mentioned, but she's having a bad day. So if you're able to do those things, the thing that it does, if I have an employee who's now a CPAK, there are certain parts of my ecosystem who will feel more confident, especially if I'm like a financial services firm, to have CPAKs there. Or if I do donor-funded projects, or I do projects with other big organizations, because let's stop saying that we only do business with small people. So it gives us mileage to speak about the caliber and the quality of our people. If we have somebody who has worked diligently on their degree and gotten it, let's celebrate it. So then your people feel valued. Now, business owners, I know you all say, oh, we'll celebrate them and they'll be poached. True. But you would have done your part. Because if they're very good for you and at what they do for you and they get a better opportunity, it also positions you as a quality employer. I think I will stop there.
Thank you, Chesubire. When you were talking about this employee who was moody, maybe they needed to be taken to the white, pristine beaches. Maybe they had been acknowledged many times, yet they'd not been taken to the white, pristine beaches. But thank you so much for those insightful tips. That we need to look internally and we need to look externally and we need to celebrate in a right way. And the ways that you've shared with us are both effective and impactful, plus sustainable. What is your parting shot to SME owners this day as we celebrate HR Month?
Thanks for the reminder about HR Month. I would say, shamelessly celebrate your people. These guys, including yourself, but they celebrate yourself also. Your team works tirelessly. Your team works tirelessly to keep you on the map. Your team, and I know we're in a season where we have a generation who quiet quit. Quiet quitting means they come to work, they do the bare minimum, and they go home. It's a global phenomenon. But in that same generation, I have found young people who are phenomenal, who work. And it all comes back because we're in a generation, so our generation as Gen Xers, we worked because work needed to be done. So we worked until it's finished and we got value from our work. The generations behind us get value from impact, making a difference. So we must be able to come to the place to marry the two. And when you were talking about how we celebrate, I wrote on my notes, celebrate appropriately. Appropriately means that if Chesubere values money, give Chesubere money. If she values time off, quality time, find a way to meet that need. But the truth is, when we're able to celebrate our teams, then they deliver better for us, and our bottom line is better, and we're more profitable, and we reach that goal of being billionaires. Now, if you as a business leader has a problem in seeing the good in your people, put an intermediary between you and them. Simple example, think about your home. If you have had 5 housekeepers in a year, the problem is likely to be you, not them. Even as they're part of the problem, you are the common denominator in that home. If it is not you, it could be that your child is difficult or the environment is unhealthy, whatever it is. Because homes are toxic for housekeepers, who we call maids and nannies and other things. So using the same example, bring it to your office. Celebrate your teams appropriately and shamelessly. And you will find that at the end of the day, they will produce better for the period they are with you.
Thank you, Chesubere. What a powerful way to end. They will produce better for the period that they are with you. Ladies and gentlemen, SME owners, and the world at large, this has been the 360-degree brand story, where brands come alive one brushstroke at a time. And we have had very good insights on how we can make sure and ensure in an appropriate and sustainable manner that we celebrate our employees and our teams as they build our brand. Remember, they are our brand ambassadors. Thank you, Chesubere Greg, for always being kind and generous with tips, ideas, stories, and simple hacks to make the process simpler for SME owners. Subscribe to our channel, Akiko Stories on YouTube. Follow us, Akiko Stories on LinkedIn. And if you have a question, comment, concern, and you would like more tips and hacks, you can leave a message in the description below. I am Joe Mukoko, and until next time, we look forward to hearing from you, sharing with you, and growing together so that we can produce better. We have been told to produce better, so we need to go and produce better. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, have a good day, have a good afternoon. Bonjour, bonsoir, kwaheri, and ciao.